Welcome to the AntonioTalks talk show. So this is... when was the last time I did one of these? Did you film one of these before, Linus?
Yeah.
You did? When was the last time I did one?
Jamie Leonard, I think, for breakfast.
Oh, that was ages ago. So that was like summer. That was like June?
Yeah.
June. So June, 6 months ago. So today we're doing the first of 2020's podcasts. And it's going to take a different style as what we were doing before. Whereas before we were talking about a lot about recruitment, and we're still going to talk about recruitment. We're talking about employer brand. We're still going to talk about employer brand. We're talking a lot. It actually went down the route of sort of social science and society and all that bollocks. We're still going to talk about that, but we're not actually going to have a plan for any of these shows anymore. We're just going to get a load of people, not a load of people, but one guest at a time in a room, and we're going to talk about things that are important to them, understand them, and have a great conversation. But there is a caveat to that. I'm not going to get people who are uninteresting in on the show. Is that all right with you, Linus? Yeah?
Very.
Cool. So today, my first guest of the new year is a gentleman who actually works, alongside myself within Recruited. He has been in the business for a year and a half, but I'll talk about the story about him in a moment. It's Neil Ewington, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
You got to speak into the microphone, dude. See, everyone gets.
Thank you so much for having me on.
No, you're nervous, aren't you?
Yeah, no, it's almost like, as you said earlier, we didn't have any other guests, so I was just going to get you on.
No, but you were the guest. You were meant to be the guest before, because we were going to film this in December.
Yeah.
And you were meant to be on the you meant to be on the show before.
And we know what December's like.
Well, exactly, but we can get to that in a moment. So, Neil, what do you think of a podcast? Are you an avid podcast listener?
I mean, this is the first time I've been on a podcast, to be honest with you. Avid podcast listener, I mean, I watch some Joe Rogan clips every now and then.
Have you noticed that, Joe Rogan's great, but have you noticed that actually I love Joe Rogan, we don't do podcasts like podcasts, but I'm getting you drunk.
So a lot of the time it's like 4 hours long. I don't have that sort of time.
I know, 4 hours long is quite long. But we're going to get you drunk because people get nervous at the start, and then when you sort of get in midway, they forget the cameras on them, and all of a sudden...
The only way that Antonio got me on here was the promise of vodka.
So I'd love to, first of all, talk about yourself. So do you an introduction. You do an introduction to yourself. Okay. Tell the world your story, because I like to think that the people watching this know me, but they don't... Well, maybe they know you, but they don't necessarily know what your background is. So talk to me, Neil. Tell the world, who are you?
Yeah, so, I mean, my background is quite typical in this industry. I worked for 8 years in recruitment, technology recruitment, banking, finance, developers into banking and finance. I started in 2009, which was, as we all know, a great year in finance.
You don't have to look at the camera. You're speaking to me, yeah?
You want to look straight at you?
Yeah.
I started in 2009, which was a great year in finance, as we all know, after the 2008 crash, and sort of worked my way up and through it. And I mean, can we go straight? Should we just go straight into the story?
Let's go straight into the story.
Let's just go straight into the story.
Let's go straight into it.
I left recruitment. I promised myself I'd never get back into recruitment again. And I went to Malta for a year and did some sales there for a company. And then I met a guy randomly in South London who was a rec to rec. And the way I met him was, I wanted a place to sit at a table in this bar that was packed, and there was a space next to him with my mate that I was with. And he said, I should introduce you to my friend Antonio. He just left Accenture and he's trying to set up this business. And I then spent about, how long was it? A year and a half berating you?
Hounding me.
Hounding you.
Well, no, you weren't hounding me, but you were very adamant at getting a job.
I mean, do you want to tell the end of it?
Yeah, no, well, yeah, it was interesting. So Neil was messaging me. I was building the business for a while. Maybe was on my 6th to 8th employee at the time. And Neil messaged me. I was hiring massively because we just landed our first big project ever. This was like a year and a half ago, yeah? So year into the business, our first big client, big global shit going on. And so we were scaling massively. We were scaling the team. And we were hiring in our recruitment functions, which we'd actually never had before. We'd never had the recruitment function before, but we were hiring this space. And actually, interestingly enough, we said to the client, yeah, we do have it. And we just faked it till we made it. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. And then you go and work out.
I know, exactly.
How
That's
you're
it.
going to do it.
That's it. So anyway, basically I knew I was hiring. Put out on LinkedIn. I was in New York at the time. And then got a load of applications. I didn't have an assistant at the time either. I didn't have someone to support me with my day-to-day activity. No Louisa, bless her. Shouts out to Louisa.
Yeah.
Cheers. Shouts out to Louisa. I didn't have that type of person, so I was shit. I'm still shit at fucking returning emails and calls and texts and all that bollocks. But I was really terrible at that time. And then, so I'm in New York. I've just gone out with clients the night before, so I have the fear the next day. Yeah, I have anxiety, really bad anxiety.
Yeah.
And we're in a WeWork because we had a WeWork office down in Old Street at the time before we moved multiple offices, and basically, I open up my LinkedIn and I've got the fear. Yeah, I've got the fear already because I'm like, what the fuck did I do last night? And then I open up my LinkedIn. I've got this long message. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna actually open it up and read it out.
So while Antonio finds that,
yeah.
Basically, I was trying to get in touch with Antonio week on week. I think the first time I messaged Antonio, he said, "Yeah, let's talk next week," and then he was busy and he couldn't talk. And eventually,
yeah,
I just got fed up and went, "Look, if this is your version of."
So yeah, I was hiring for recruitment. Bear in mind, yeah, it's a talent experience managers.
So talent experience manager was the job title. If this is your version of experience for a candidate, then you need to hire me. Something like that. Something that I woke up the next day to.
No. You didn't say that. It was a lot more harsh than that, I'd say. But then what was my response? You remember my response?
I know, it broke my heart because your response was so polite and so. Well, I do apologise. I don't, as you can imagine, I get a lot of messages like this every day, and I'd love to be able to respond to all of them, etc., etc., etc. And I read that and went, well, I feel like a right idiot now.
Here we go. Anyway, so
have you found it?
Have you still got it? Yeah. So I've got the messages. Hold on.
Oh no.
He's on LinkedIn, obviously. Blah 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 blah. Hold on, 1 second. Let me just find this. While we're talking, I'm just going through LinkedIn at the moment. So anyway, basically you got the job. Oh no, you didn't get a job. No, what happened after that? So I responded to you.
Then nothing really happened after. Well, you responded to me, and then I was at a wedding, and I was living in Malta at the time, and I went to a wedding in Germany, and you called me when I was.
Here we go. Right, here it is.
Oh no.
Listen to this, yeah. Antonio, if this is the experience of recruitment from your current company, then you definitely need a recruitment experience manager. Been trying to get hold of you since September and have not had a reply for over a week. About a job opening. I wouldn't dare make someone, if engaged about a position, wait that long.
I wouldn't.
Out of, at the very least, respect. I understand you're bust. I don't know, I must have meant busy, but you must have been pissed at the time. I understand you're bust, but if you're trying to grow a recruitment business, not replying for a week when you're recruiting doesn't set a great precedent. Busy, asterisk. If I hear from you by close of business Monday, great. Not even a comma, like it's just great, Monday, great. If not, please remove me from the process. Bloody hell, you were a bit of a diva there, weren't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd all agree. We've all wanted to send that message.
And I responded,
at some point.
We've
all wanted to send that message.
We have all wanted to respond to that message, right? And I responded, Neil, I'm sorry about this and understand your frustration as it's something that is killing me right now, hence why I'm in the process of hiring a PA. Shouts out to Louisa. My LinkedIn inbox fills up at around 60 messages per day, and I'm sure you can understand that as a CEO, recruitment is one of the 20 areas that I have to focus on, and these are struggles with the growth we've had and are expected to have. As a startup, our processes are sometimes arduous. We're learning every day, but that's why we're hiring. However, we have only been going for 8 months. This was 8 months at the time. Wow, that's nuts. Wow. I do need to be frank with you. We are not at the mature stage from an organisational efficiency point of view that you would probably be used to.
That's the bit that killed me.
And maybe something you would struggle / become frustrated with should you join us.
Yeah, that was
the benefits of growth, that's pure Machiavellian.
That was so Machiavellian.
The benefits of growth like ours is that we learn fast, but it's often learnt the hard way. And then you started backtracking.
I backtrack. I've backtracked so much. I'm basically moonwalked out the door.
So basically that's Neil. So you've been in recruitment for fucking 8 years. You know a thing or two. Obviously, you got a bit annoyed about the candidate experience, and then basically, it all fizzled out a little bit. But then we were hiring for someone to run our recruiters. Do you remember that?
I remember.
And then, funny enough, I don't know what happened, but we got just crossed paths again.
I think I just sent you a random message. I was in Germany. I was in a wedding. I was at a wedding in Germany, and I messaged you, and you just rang me straight away. And we spoke for about half an hour about just how we feel about the industry, about what you guys are doing, what you're doing as a business, and how I was introduced to who you were by that rec to rec from South London that day, and how it was different, and how what you were doing was different, how the approach was different, and that was when I said, and I meant that I didn't want to get into recruitment again. I meant that because the main reason being, I've worked in many recruitment companies, and when you're doing 360 recruitment, it's you're doing BD, you're going to clients. You always say, we have a unique selling point, but you never really did.
Yeah.
You're going on the same job boards, the same LinkedIn people. You were going about it the same way.
Exactly.
But you guys were genuinely doing something different, and that's why I sort of committed my. You were the only person that I was harassing as much as I was.
So that's why it was actually because we were thinking at that time. Then you got the job. Actually, that's why it was 8 months. Wow, 8 months we started speaking into the business. That is nuts. So then anyway, we had a great conversation. You were at a wedding.
I was at a wedding. You said to me, right, Neil, come. I'm not going to hire you unless I've met you in person.
Yeah.
And I was living in Malta.
Yeah.
So I had a choice to make. I was like, well, what do I do? Do I buy a flight back to London, or do I go back to Malta to my job? And so I got a flight back to London, and I came and met you in the office, and it was you basically said no.
We should have stuck with that fucking decision.
Should have done. We interviewed for about half an hour, and you went, just don't like you. No, you didn't say that. You said I just don't think you've got the level. And I think my response was, well, I'm not leaving this. I
said I don't think you're data led enough. I think
that was it, because I
said I'm really data led. I'm like, look at that. I said, look, I understand. I said, I don't think you will be able to do the data side of things. And
I'm pretty sure in my my response to that, I know, because the reason you said that was because I always said at the end, and this is the advice I give to people at the end of any interview, always say, so what concerns do you have about me? Because then you can mitigate those concerns.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're having an interview with anyone, doesn't matter who you are, what job you're going for, always at the end say, so what concerns do you have about me? Because it may be a concern that's not prevalent or not relevant, that you can say, well, that concern, you shouldn't be concerned about that for this reason or this reason. I said, what concerns do you have about me? And your response was, I just don't think you're data-led enough. And in my sort of naivety, I just went, I like data. I like data. Data's a thing that I know about.
I like data. Yeah.
There's data, and I know about it. And no, but I said I'm not leaving this room until you offer me this job.
Yeah, and then we sort of done a little dance for a while.
And you sort of went back to what we were talking about before, because I said I'm not leaving this room until you give me the position or the job, and you liked that.
Yeah, and then so you got the job, and then I was like, right.
Well, this was the next thing, right? And then you said, right, well, you've got the job. Your first day is on It was a Monday. Your first day is on Thursday. Meet me at Heathrow Airport. We're going to San Francisco for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, I lived in Malta.
Yeah, exactly. So all your shit was there. Yeah.
All my possessions and stuff were in Malta. And I was like, well, of course you have to say yes to that, you know?
And then we went to... it's sort of like a rite of passage, wasn't it? That sort of...
We all got to know each other quite well.
Yeah, exactly. Then we went to San Francisco. That was amazing. I didn't stay with you guys, obviously.
Well, no, because, as Simon Sinek says...
leaders eat
last, right? Or leaders, in Antonio's words, leaders eat first.
Yeah, well, I'm obviously I'm not going to fraternise with the staff.
I'll be up in first class, guys, by the way.
No, I actually never travel first class. Although, actually, Linus, with you in New York, I was staying with you guys, wasn't I? I tried not to, didn't I? Yeah, multiple times.
So you can't use that as the reason. You can't use that as an example, can you? If you tried not to.
No,
I was forced into it.
So
it's not a reason.
No, I'm really weird. Like when it comes to staying with people, I love my own space. And I told you this when we were going. You thought it was weird. And everyone maybe thought it was weird that I wasn't staying with anyone.
I tell you, everyone loves their own space.
No, but
if I could get a private jet everywhere I wanted to go, I would. Everyone loves their own space. That's not a reason.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah.
I'd love my own mansion and a private jet everywhere I go.
I don't have a mansion. I don't have a private jet.
Yeah.
Yet.
Well, yeah.
But the point is that I kind of felt like at that time specifically, you know, obviously the company was growing, and I felt like I felt like that was the thing I had to do, was not stay with people.
I genuinely.
Do you know what I mean?
I genuinely think it was a good. I'd known you 2 weeks personally. I think it was good for that sort of separation.
Because you were going in and managing a couple of people as well, weren't you? So and they were with you.
I've been brought in to manage people.
Yeah.
And you'd when you were there. I remember the first 3 days that I worked with you, it was every 30 seconds. Neil, what are you doing? What are you up to?
Yeah, just sort of assessing.
And I was like, stop.
I think you were on the toilet at one point. I was like, Neil, what are you doing?
I'm
on the toilet.
Honestly, I was on the toilet for probably 2 minutes.
But how nice, those places in San Francisco were lovely, weren't they? So we stayed in Palo Alto.
What a great place for anyone in technology. Like the sort of the energy there was.
What do you mean the energy though?
You could speak to any person that you met, and you could speak to them about. So say you went up to a guy in Shoreditch and said I run a technology business. They'd go, well, fuck off. But you could go to someone in.
And they're interested. Do you remember we were on the train with that geezer from Facebook?
Right. Well, yeah, I got us invited to Facebook's. Winter party.
And we were too hungover to go, weren't we?
We were way too hungover to go.
It wasn't a winter party, it was a summer party. We were there in the summer. But yeah.
Yeah, the summer party, and we were too hungover to go. And well, basically I asked them, is Mark Zuckerberg going to be there? And they said no, and we went, well, fuck it then.
Yeah, exactly. What's the point?
Yeah, how's he going to buy our business if you...
So basically we were in San Francisco, great times, did the events, there was a huge success. And then you've been working for us for like a year and a half now. A year and a half? Yeah, I'd say it's a year and a half.
I think I'm probably like, I don't know, seventh?
I mean, in terms of longest,
Tenure?
You got me, Mike, Ian.
You were first, were you?
Obviously.
All right.
Me, Mike, Ian, Diego, Ari, you.
Yeah.
Sixth. In terms of who's in the business right now, yeah?
Sixth?
It's number 6.
Wow.
Number 6.
Promotion?
No.
Salary increase?
Right, so anyway, this isn't about that. So basically... So how's it been? How's the journey been working for Recruited?
Insane. So I think it's really important. I worked in a lot of recruitment businesses. I'm sure lots of people who will watch this would know me from when I worked in those recruitment businesses. Working for Recruited was a real shock to the system because it was so fast-paced. Everything was so fast-paced. It was... everything was... Now, it wasn't, you know, I've worked...
What do you mean fast-paced? Come on, because your words are not fast-paced right now.
So, let me give you an example.
Have you seen Jumanji? You've seen it. You know the geezer who's like really slow? And he's no, yeah.
Out of spite, I will be slow if you go on...
No, not really slow, as in like that way. I mean, really slow as in like the way he speaks. And because he's an old man, right? And he's in the body of Kevin Hart.
yeah.
That's the way you...
The new one?
Yes, and it's amazing. That's the way you sound right now. You're like...
Thanks.
It's been
really... And what I've learned over the years is that if you ever need self-confidence, go to Antonio, because he's always there to, you know, big you up. And
actually, just an FYI as well out there, like we are, we're colleagues, we are colleagues 100%, but actually we spend a lot of time together just in general, just hanging out, just catching jokes.
I probably spend more time with you than anyone else.
I know.
Like including each of our other
yeah,
halves.
Exactly.
Like, we spend more time together than we do.
No, we are actually like really best mates.
And I still hate him.
Yeah, all right. All right then.
No, but...
so what you're saying? So you're saying it's been fast-paced?
No, but I think it's important to explain what I mean by fast-paced. I've worked for, you know, larger companies, working for banks, whatever it was. When it would be right now, it'd be like, do this now, do this right now. And everyone would would create it immediately. You know, I've worked with, and I'm sure lots of people listening will have worked in banks where, you know, creating a prototype for something. And I had this conversation with a client recently. They want people not from finance, because in finance it takes 6 months to create a prototype, right?
Yeah.
They want someone who can create a prototype in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And joining Recruited and working with you guys I just couldn't. It took me a while to adjust to it and to sort of keep up. But it was the most exciting job I'd ever had. It was just now. Everything was just now. We decided to open up an office in the Philippines. 2 weeks later, we'd hired 16 people.
Yeah.
It's always just been so quick and so. And if we'll try everything, and if something goes wrong, then we'll just no. Okay, we're not going to do that anymore. And it's just
so that if we take that back for a second, so knowing what you know now compared to when you started, like how much do you think you've changed as an individual? Because obviously I have my perceptions, but what do you think, like from yourself, like how much do you think you've changed being in an environment like this? Because this environment, it is tough. Like, well, it was way tougher back in the day, I think. Like, it was way hardcore. It was hardcore back in the day.
There was 8 of us doing 90 people's job.
I know. Yeah, exactly. It was way tougher back in the day. Now it's actually a bit chilled. Everyone's like, maybe I've calmed down a bit. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. but actually, Linus, I'm not even joking, dude. Like, back in the day, bro, it was fucking mental.
Every day,
honestly. I like anxiety every day.
Every day, it'd be me,
like,
you, Mike, Ian. We'd all be sat around the same table, working our asses off to scrape together fulfilling something for a client.
Yeah.
And I don't see Ian for like 2 weeks at a time.
I know.
But we'd all be sat around the same table.
Yeah, on the same table. Grinding. Like,
I slept in the office loads of times. So did you. So did Kevin. We slept in the office because we were working so late to get stuff done. And now I don't see Kevin. Well, Kevin lives in the Philippines, but I don't see Ian for like weeks at a time because
even I don't. That's it. Yeah.
The business has grown and we don't have interaction, which is not a bad thing, but it's just that's the difference in the company to me. But personally, how I've grown, I think that it's just been such a challenging journey, but not in a. I feel like that's such a cliche when people say I love a challenge. I feel like it's a massive cliche. It was a real. I pushed myself to do a role that I had experience in, but didn't know how to do, and I think that only comes from working with a startup.
Well, no, but that's a classic Recruited thing. I mean, if you take, even I think Linus will actually agree with this as well. Linus, you'll agree that when I started this business, I didn't know I've never ran a company before, boys. Do you know what I mean? I've never actually ran a company.
And 2 years later, you'll go, excuse me, Neil, which one of the two of us has built a business?
Yeah, exactly. That's my argument now. Do you know, like, that's the trump card? If someone's arguing, I'm like, have you ever built a business?
Out of the two of us, who's built a
global business?
Global business? I think it's me.
No, it's not like that. I sound like an arsehole. I'm not actually not like that. Everyone's like,
just with me, but that's
exactly. No. Honestly, Linus, I think we all agree. Like, when I started this, I didn't know what I was doing, but I just fucking learned on the way. And I think that culture always just goes through the whole company. And I think it's super important that we, we're growing as a business. I think we took a massive detour actually since April last year.
We did, yeah.
And now we're starting to get back into where we were back in the day. And actually, I'm trying to get back to April. That's what I'm trying to do.
That
back to
office
April.
move we did was super effective, and in a weird way. Like I don't think it was intentional. I don't think So for people who don't know our status every month, we moved from a large office into a temporary office for the space of 6 weeks. But moving into this tiny space where we could barely move past each other was like how we were. We were in that room, just 6 of us in that room, grafting.
Yeah, because we went into that shop front, and that was amazing, beautiful space, and that was a goal to achieve. I achieved it, great.
Yeah.
But right now, if you look at, I think when we went back into that office, having just the closeness of each other, and just not having to walk down to someone's desk and say, "Hey, can you help me here?" Actually going, Tim.
Despite
there's not even a Tim in this company.
Every time we've changed office, I've said to Louisa, "So do I have my own office yet?" Because that's the goal.
See,
I'd never spend time.
But the thing is, dude, I don't care how big we get. I'll still be sitting amongst the people.
Yeah, so will I. But I still want it. I still want the office with
Why?
my name on it, a corner
Why?
office with a.
Is that what validates
a
you?
leather chair. Was that what validates me? So what success? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so we're not here to talk about ourselves all day, but what I do want to talk about, Neil. So in your sort of history within recruitment, so your role now. Let's fast forward. So all this is all the great stuff. We talked about the history of the company, and it's been a beautiful journey spending time with you, working on this business. We've all changed. Like, I know you keep mentioning my forehead line, which you've made me really conscious of.
I mentioned it once.
But you made me really conscious of. Now I look in the mirror and
that all the management team now have forehead wrinkles, and Antonio's response to that was to rub his forehead.
No,
as if that was going to change the fact he now has forehead wrinkles.
And every time I look in the mirror now, and I give myself I just do a frown. I can see it.
And out of spite, you started saying you're losing your hair.
Well, you are. I mean, if you just
we can.
If you look at your.
I mean, I didn't even talk about your.
What
below your eyes, mate. I didn't even.
What do you mean below my eyes? These wrinkles. I had a drink last night. I'm dry faced. I'm dried out.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not the age at all.
We had to just take a quick break there because we had to replace the batteries. Can you hear me all right now? Yeah, cool.
Can you hear me as well?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So dude, you've been in recruitment for ages. You've been with us for a while. It's been great building this business together. Yes, you do have a fading hair on top of your head, but that's fine. One of the things that I want to say is, now I just want to ask you, right? So now you run our European delivery, right? So for anyone out there, what that means is that, Neil, when we work with clients and we're working in Europe, so for instance, Poland, Germany, Sweden, UK, anywhere in Europe, obviously, basically, Neil will be the person who strategizes with his teams alongside him to basically fulfill the delivery of what we commit to our clients. So that can happen in two types of forms, right? It can happen in, we deliver an X amount of roles. So we say to our clients, we're going to do 10 roles here or 10 people you need to hire. We'll deliver them there. Or we do single positions. What do you find the most interesting in your role?
I mean, it's and this probably will seem obvious to some people, but not to a lot. The stuff like the difference in typically what the notice period is across countries.
Okay, yeah, notice period.
So for example, we've just won a lot of business in Poland.
Yeah,
and we're now hiring contractors for that business because they didn't realise that there was a 3-month notice period.
So that's what you find the most interesting in your role is the notice period of people in different regions.
I had about 45 minutes worth of talking points here, but
that's what you find the most interesting in your role is the amount of time that someone has to give notice to leave their job. That's what you find the most interesting in your role.
May I speak?
Yes.
So what I find most interesting is the variation across countries. When it comes to...
In notice periods?
No. Not just notice periods, the variation across countries, across everything. What a blue card means in Germany versus the notice periods in Switzerland.
Yeah.
And what the differentiation is in those different countries that if you don't know them... For example, our client, I won't mention the client's name, obviously, but they were very...
So going from, say, for instance... doing recruitment yourself, which you do actually a lot, which is great. It was great to see hands-on. Going from doing recruitment to managing team, what's the difference sort of, I guess? Because you manage probably 14, 15 people right now?
Yeah, it's super tough going from just working these roles to managing people.
Why?
Super tough. Because it's a real... a lot of it, and you know that I don't like to inflate your ego, Antonio. It's one of the things I try most in my life not to do, is avoid, bigging you up. But a lot of what I learned about how to manage people came from sort of a mixture between you and, don't smile at me like that, a mixture between you and sort of my own philosophies around how to manage people. It's difficult because everyone needs to be managed differently.
Absolutely.
Some people need a stick up their ass to do well. When I was 19, 20 in recruitment, I thought I was the most intelligent, best person in the world. And I had a manager at the time who basically talked me down, belittled me, until I realised that I knew nothing, and then built me back up again.
You know, Einstein says we know nothing in general.
I don't think that's a direct quote, is it?
Well,
From Einstein.
What does he say?
Well, I don't.
Should we just Google it and make sure you put this up on the screen in a moment? Yeah, no, Einstein does say we know nothing.
We know nothing. Well, I'm sure most people have said that at some point in a sentence.
Einstein, I know nothing, quote.
I don't think Einstein said I know nothing. He might have said it at the beginning of a sentence.
We know nothing. Here we are. So let's actually look at this for a second. We know nothing at all. So it was we know nothing.
No.
At all.
At all.
All our knowledge is but the knowledge of school children. The real nature of things we shall never know. What do you think Einstein meant by that?
I think it's very clear, isn't it?
No. Go on, tell me.
So read it again. Read the first part.
We know nothing at all. Our knowledge is but the knowledge of school children. The real nature of things we shall never know.
So what he meant by that, and a lot of the time, something that I get quite annoyed about is people say Einstein did in some. If people who are physicists here, they're really going to berate me on this if I get this wrong in any way. But he would often, as would Stephen Hawking, say, well, God did it, if they couldn't explain anything. And a lot of...
Do you know, Einstein also said, don't believe what you see on Facebook.
I mean, it's like Abraham Lincoln said, don't believe all the quotes you see online.
So anyway, go on. What do you mean God did it?
In my opinion, what he meant by that was there's things that he can't explain. So he would say, well, okay, well that's supernatural. There's things we can't explain. So
you're quite like a big science. No, I say science.
In my opinion, the reason this is the case is we, as mammals, as we evolved in a three-dimensional space. We evolved to be hunters and gatherers, right? So we evolved to throw a spear at something or look at a different color of a berry. Okay, we didn't evolve to think about where the moon is compared to the sun. That's why we have mathematics. And that mathematics is the only way we can explain anything else.
So we know nothing if we don't know any mathematics. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, we can explain kicking a football into a football net, right? We can see that. But the reason why when you curve a ball into a football net.
So yeah, no, I like this because this is. So I'm quite like, as you know. Neil,
but let me finish this.
Right,
the reason why, if you curve a ball into a football net, the goalkeeper's less likely to save it.
I don't think I asked why the goalkeeper's going to save a ball, Neil.
No, but I'm going. There's this is because in nature there's nothing that curves. So there's no animal that would curve, would move in that direction, or the.
So what does that mean?
That's why it's more difficult for us to see. So we are evolutionary. We see things in those three dimensions.
So we see things that go straight or
forward,
diagonal,
or in colours, so that we can see. This is a berry that we can eat because it's ripe or it's not ripe. So it's green or it's yellow, right?
Yeah.
And we know what's ripe and what's not ripe. We don't know how to describe the solar system. We don't know how to describe the solar system, which is why we have to use mathematics to describe it.
Yeah. So this is actually interesting so what do you think? And I know it sounds crazy. Because if you really think about it, right? So then you think, well, what created us? Obviously, our parents, right? What created Earth? Well, the Big Bang, you'd probably say. But then how did that Big Bang get there? What happened before that? Do you know what I'm saying? What happened before that?
It kept me up at night for years.
What happened before
it? Because you can go back and back and back, and then you get to the Big Bang, and you go, well, what caused the Big Bang? And you're like, well, shit.
Because that's what I'm saying.
Stuck, right? So
And then the thing is, existence, but even if you say, like, we are an artificial intelligence, which is like Elon Musk, he's all about, like, yeah, we're artificial intelligence. But then what the fuck created that? How did the artificial intelligence get
Elon
there?
Musk believes in simulation theory.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we are. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, I'm mixing my words. Simulation. Yeah.
Elon Musk believes in simulation theory, which is I guess the best way of describing that is we all played The Sims in the 90s when we were young. Sorry if people are younger and don't remember The Sims, but
Sims 4 now, bud.
Is it Sims 4?
I saw it the other
day. Can you still remove the ladder and make people drown?
Do you know I got a PlayStation at the weekend? No, at the weekend at the Christmas break. Got a PlayStation.
Yeah, what are you playing on it?
Call of Duty.
Beach volleyball 2.
But I played it. No, hold on. I played it for fucking literally 10 minutes and I regretted the purchase. Because I'm never going to play it again.
You can give it to me.
No, Leo will have it.
Well, I was going to sell it on eBay, but sure.
Right. Anyway, so simulation theory. Basically, simulation means we live in a simulation. It's artificial world. Is that right?
Well, this is the best example. So we all played Sims when we were younger, right? And where you could build a house. Sims, they went to school, whatever. We from Pong, which was the first computer game, one of the first computer games that was created in the 1980s. Yeah. To Sims was 20 years, right?
Can you do something for my story, please? Yeah, go on.
20 years from Pong to The Sims. In 100 years, it's absolutely feasible, and statistically, it's almost impossible not to be the case.
Well, let's pull up the clip. Should we pull up the clip with Elon Musk talking about it?
Do you know what? It might be better if he explains it.
Because exactly. I think we're going to have to just quickly cut to Elon Musk quickly. No, because let's pull it up.
Elon Musk simulation theory again.
I don't know if this is worth putting on the story, but
that's fine. As long as you got me in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
As
It's
long as
great.
you got me in. I look hot.
By the way, we are actually live right now. We're not editing this, so this is going to go out. Yeah, Elon Musk.
I know.
Simulation theory.
I won't talk about that last night then.
Well,
but
hold on.
Ultimately,
I wasn't even with you last night, Geese.
there's a sort of a philosophical concept that a sufficiently advanced civilization will be able to create a simulation. Yeah, maybe you've answered this before. A simulation.
I've had so many simulation discussions, it's crazy.
How many simulation discussions have you had?
In fact, it got to the point where basically every conversation was the AI/simulation conversation.
You see, every podcast that I do always goes to this.
We would ban such.
I swear to God, dude.
It's like a bad house party, innit? End up in the kitchen on YouTube.
It's not necessarily YouTube, it's about the simulation conversation.
Could create a simulation that's like our existence, and so the theory follows that maybe we're in the simulation. Have you thought about this? And
A lot.
Are we?
A lot.
One of the smartest people in the world.
No.
Yeah, so much so it had to be banned from a hot tub.
Has to be banned from the hot tub. Who's in that
Okay.
hot tub?
It's not the sexiest conversation.
Are we in? Are we in?
I think here's, the strongest argument for us being in a simulation, probably being in a simulation, I think is the following. That 40 years ago we had Pong, like two rectangles.
So you're literally doing a direct quote.
That was what games
Well,
were.
it's because they could.
Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have virtual reality, augmented reality. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality. They'll be indistinguishable.
But would you? So that's an interesting one. Because would you need a VR headset for that? Is that what he's talking about? Because the games would become indistinguishable from reality would mean that, because I know if I'm playing Call of Duty, even if it's as lifelike as you like, it's on my TV, I'm holding a controller, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So is he talking from that you would actually just get in a pod and basically just a thing will come down and then all of a sudden you're in this game?
I know, but
like Avatar.
Absolutely, but even from the other side, the AIs in the game would be so advanced that what's to say they're not sentient life?
What do you mean?
So if you have an AI character in Sims, for example, which you don't, because if you remove the ladder from the swimming pool, they still drown. But if you had an AI in a game that was so complicated,
advanced, and then actually you felt really bad
then what's
for
to
it?
say that they aren't
Like,
a real
if you remove
person?
the ladders, like, why would you do this to me?
They learn things. They learn who you are. They learn to like you, and they learn about you and they learn about you. What's to say that's not consciousness?
Yeah, but then there's a different debate, isn't there? Like consciousness.
And what's to say
is-
we're not that thing? We're not that consciousness that someone's created in a game.
No, I'm of the fucking opinion, Linus. I swear down. I am of the opinion that I've actually created you guys. I'm of the.
Do you know what's going to blow your mind?
Hold on, no, I'm not. One second. I'm of the opinion that I have created you guys. Like, I've actually created everything here. Everything around me, I've created. I've created from a desire. And I talk about like a lot about spiritual stuff and how like, you know, you can create things if you have intentions, intention to push or intention to do something. And if you want, and whatever you think about, you bring about whatever nature of thought too. So it's not just about the thought, it's about the nature of the thought and the feeling of the thought. So the feelings are what create corresponding
positive effects in your life.
Effects. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
and who's it? Newton said? What did he say? What did Newton say?
Every action has an opposite and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
But that's
No, it has a significant
no, it has an equal and opposite reaction.
equal and opposite. Sorry, yeah, equal and opposite. Yeah, there you go.
But that you can't apply that to being happy.
Dude, it's not about being happy. Happiness is not
Newton
happiness
was
is
talking
so
about,
no. Hold on. Happiness is so surface level.
Newton was talking about forces in physics.
He was talking about energies. Are we not energy? Are you not an energy? Are you not matter?
Would you want to know his second law?
Well, go on.
Which energy can't be created nor destroyed, only transferred.
Exactly.
Was that the third law?
That's
Sorry, I get that
perfect,
wrong.
right? Exactly. So energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So we are vessels. We are vessels. This is what I'm saying. You are a vessel for your consciousness. You came here one purpose, right? To experience yourself.
The thing
To
is,
the universe to experience
the
itself.
thing is, we agree on the outcome of what you believe.
We just don't.
We just don't agree on the way that happens. I think that if you walk around this world being a happier, more positive person, being a kinder person, you will get further because people will be kinder back. If you walk around with your head up your ass, and you won't see a £50 note on the floor, but if you walk
No,
around
but it's
with
not
an
about
open mind,
kindness. Oh, by the way, it's not even about kindness because you could be the kindest person but have really bad energy, and it's about a state. It's about a state. Like if we think about, I don't know how quantum mechanics works. You do. You could talk about this, but if you think about like the state of where we're at, like the state of an atom. It's about the state. It's about the state of who we are. And an atom, a cell, an organism, Earth, Gaia, the universe, it's all one of the same. It's all just a state.
You threw me for a loop with all the different names you just used. An atom, a Gaia, an Earth. It was one thing was from like a Resident Evil movie. The other was.
What do you mean? What was from it?
I think. Look, the thing that we don't know. Ultimately, we don't know. But I'm kind of with Elon Musk on this. But the thing is, if you believe what Elon Musk believes about simulation theory, it doesn't fucking matter either way.
Well, it does. It does
No,
matter.
but it doesn't because you can't change it.
Hold on one sec. So Linus, by the way, next podcast, I want you to we need to order a microphone for you too.
Okay.
I'd love to have you and just ask you questions and have you speak on it.
But
hold on, no, but we need to. Is this Linus? What do you think? Are we in a simulation?
it doesn't matter either way. Because if we are, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change what you're going to do tomorrow if you know you're in a simulation.
Well,
See, I believe we are in a simulation.
But it does. But it doesn't change.
Hold on. Let Linus answer.
Sorry, Linus.
no worries. I think the simulation it's hard to say. I do kind of agree with it. It might not make a difference, kind of. But I'm kind of fascinated by this notion of that you will only ever make a certain amount of decisions. That it's kind of like you're kind of like pre-programmed to do certain things at certain times. It's kind of like free will and shit.
I really dislike that argument.
Yeah.
What do you mean? But I don't understand. What's the argument?
The theory is, I don't necessarily believe that. So I'm curious if that is true or not. Like that, in a given circumstance, you only have certain amount of things that you will naturally do.
I can't
You'll
accept
do the
that
same
my
thing every
decisions
time.
aren't my own.
Yeah.
So one of the arguments is every decision that you've made is predetermined, or every decision you made, there's a opposite universe or parallel universe where someone's made the opposite decision.
But the point is that that's quite true. That's true.
When I wake up in the morning, I decide what I'm going to wear.
Then maybe you think you decide. Maybe this is what I'm saying.
And maybe
it's
that's
like-
true. Then maybe that's true. But I will never ever accept the fact that I'm not the person in control.
Yeah, but of course you'd never accept it because that's ego.
But it's a choice made based on various factors like the weather and what your taste in
Exactly.
colours is and things like that.
And your environment.
So next time it's cold and rainy outside, I'm going to wear shorts.
No, hold on.
That's still my decision.
No, because you wouldn't. You're only doing it just and that again. Again, you're doing it because your ego. So your environment determines. Nature versus nurture.
That's completely different. Psychology.
I'm just saying. I want to jump into that in a moment.
About kids.
But the point is that you are a product of what you have been surrounded by, right?
Well, there was an interesting study where a guy who was a psychologist named one of his children Winner. That was their name. And named one of his children Loser.
He actually did that. So he used his children as studies.
Nice guy, really nice guy, as an experiment. And the child called Winner was consistently arrested by the child called Loser, who was in the police force, for doing things that I imagine were illegal. And so, what we learned from that is don't be a dick when you're naming your children, but also what you name someone is going to affect how they're treated. But I think that's obvious, right? Don't name someone a stupid name they're going to get bullied out of school for.
Well, I mean, okay, let's step back for a second, right? So, are we in a simulation? That's what I want to know, guys. I'm here to. The only reason I'm here today is to understand
the mathematical probability that we aren't is.
You don't think so? Why not?
The mathematical probability that we aren't is zero.
Yeah. So hold on 1 second, Linus. I want to hear what your thoughts after this in a moment.
It drops by 1,000 from what it is right now. Then you just say, okay, well, let's imagine it's 10,000 years in the future, which is nothing in the evolutionary scale. So given that we're clearly on a trajectory to have games that are indistinguishable from reality, and those games could be played on any set-top box or on a PC or whatever, and there would probably be, billions of such.
He's a legend, isn't he?
Computers or set-top boxes. It would seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
So
Tell me what's wrong with that argument.
Is the answer yes?
I mean,
The argument is probably. But I just like, is there a flaw in that argument?
I mean, someone.
I'm not sure what the error.
No. The argument makes sense. So the assumption then is that somebody beat us to it, and this is a game.
by like
No,
billions
no.
of
There's
times.
a 1 in billions chance that this is base reality.
Oh, okay.
And how egotistical
What do you think?
do you have to be?
Well, I think it's 1 in billions.
Okay.
So he's saying basically.
That-
So he's basically saying there's a 1 in billion chance that this is actual reality.
The first thing
1 in billion.
Antonio, the first thing you said was you go back to the Big Bang, and then what before?
Right.
It's exactly this argument.
It's this argument.
We're
What
not
was-
base reality. We weren't the first one. Someone's created this.
Yeah.
And
Because at the beginning there was nothing.
If they've created this one, what's to say they haven't created it 19, 100, 100,000
And they're
times?
just sort of testing scenarios, right?
And you have to have, as a human being, a massive ego to think that, oh yeah, we were the first ones.
Yeah, that's true. Well, this is the point, right? But then what if we were? There's a 1 in billion chance. We could be that 1 in billion.
Oh, then I'd be parading around the earth like I'm the best
But the
thing
point
that's ever
is, I genuinely think that, like, we are in a simulation, and I genuinely think that, I don't think it's something that we are like I am a computer or I'm a piece of code. What I do think is that I am a simulation of the world I want to create, and I think it's like Matrix shit, harvesting human energy.
So this two things about this. This will blow your mind a little bit, I think, Antonio. There's two things about this. And I know
it makes you sound like a fucking huge conspiracy theorist.
That does get a little good.
Antonio, I think this will genuinely blow your mind. Every person who's
Did you just listen to the gravitas of what I just said there? And the fact of the matter is that, and it maybe this is what I'm saying. Maybe
Can you get my eye roll in this?
who was that geezer? Who was that geezer from the Matrix? The one who wore the glasses?
Morpheus.
No, the other one who was the attacker.
Mr.
the
Smith.
attacker. Mr. Smith. I think you're Mr. Smith, and that's why he's like just trying to jump in because they don't want us to know that this is actually happening. Like this is actually happening. So he's a decoy. He's a decoy over here. Go on.
So I need some sunglasses. I think that I have there's two things about this. I have a similar issue with I'm atheist, right? And I have I think I like the fact that simulation theory. I like to believe simulation theory because it makes my life easier. And I think that's a lot of the time that's the case with religion. I don't know what happened, and you go, well, okay, well there was the Bible, and this is what happened, right? That makes your life easier to believe that. And I was never religious, neither were my parents. So this was like almost a religious easy out Simulation theory is almost a religious equivalent easy out for, I can't explain it. I've sat up at night trying to work out what happened before the Big Bang, and I can't work it out. So, sure. We're all Sims characters.
No. Okay, so then we go back to that thing that you said earlier, the third theory from Newton. Energy cannot be destroyed, it can be transferred, right?
It can't be created or destroyed, only transferred.
So, energy...
In the standard model of physics.
Yeah, so the energy is like... So have you heard of Kabbalah? No, seriously, this is important.
It's a nice rap, isn't it?
No, Kabbalah,
It's got chicken in it.
It's like Jewish mysticism or something like that, people call it.
Oh, sorry, is that really awful what I just said?
No, it's fine. What I'm saying is, like, Kabbalah, basically, and everything points to all these even the religious books, everything points to that it's just the universe experiencing itself.
Isn't that Madonna's religion?
Madonna's Madonna's religion.
Hold on.
And the Kabbalah basically says that
people wore like celebrities. I think it was a thing.
Kabbalah says that behind, basically, there's like a curtain, yeah, and we see like only, a dimension, which is basically, you could just basically convert it into normal text. It's like we see just dimension, yeah, just one dimension, and we can't see what's behind that. But we are vessels. That's what we are. We are vessels, vessels of experience, and vessels of the universe experience itself. We are just experiencing ourselves over and over again. We are just a universe. We are, and this is what I'm saying, we are, and then it just says that we are God experiencing itself.
So the thing that I find interesting about this is, when people say they don't believe in the Big Bang, and you can only see past a certain curtain. Again, I'm sort of, I'm a scientist will say, I can show you the Big Bang. You bring me a telescope, come out onto the roof with me at night, I can show you the background radiation, which is about 3 degrees. I can show you the beginning of the universe. But at the same time, the opposite of that is you can only see a certain distance because the universe is expanding faster than light travels.
Did they say that the universe will actually contract at some point?
Well, that is one theory, but it's considered not.
Is it now?
Correct. Well, because there's not enough mass in the universe for it to contract from itself. If there was more mass, then it would contract from itself.
Yeah.
Which would be so circular, right? Which would be great. So it expands, it contracts, it expands, it contracts. But that would be great, but there's not enough mass.
So do you think there are 12 universes, as Einstein said?
He didn't say 12 universes. He said there's... Well, it depends if you're talking about M theory or string theory, but there's different levels.
So for the benefit of people, what is M theory and what is string theory?
Can you just pause this bit out in case we want to go to bed, and I can explain what the difference between M and string theory is about the different dimensions?
Is it going to be too much?
If you can put a link in the video that you post.
Yeah, we'll just do some links. Okay, if anyone wants to know what M theory is and string theory is, just we'll put some links in.
Dimensions, but essentially, it's the same thing.
So let's say we are a simulation. Then, what does that mean?
Nothing. This is the point. This is why I liken it to being religious. Because I always thought I'd love to. I wish I was. I wish I was Christian and that I believed in Christ. That would make my life and my life decisions so much easier. Because I could say, I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do because of the religion.
So there are people in this world who they derive happiness from hurting other people. Yeah. And there are other people who derive happiness from serving other people and making people feel good. Now the only thing that separates these type of people is, I believe, their ego, and the ego is derived by the way we've been brought up. Yeah, so because I had a shit upbringing, I want other people to feel shit around me. I want people I want to be the center of attention. So when anyone else tries to be the center of attention, I'll put them down. This, that, and the other, right? So it's all derived by the ego, and there are so many variables. I can't really explain every variable.
Right.
So my perception of it all is that because there are infinite variables of how you feel in terms of how you're going to express yourself to other human beings and how you're going to interact with other people. There are infinite variables in how you're going to find offense to things too, and things that are going to hurt you, right? So hold on, I'm just going to get in there. Which means that if there are infinite variables in that state, then it's impossible not to offend anyone, because someone's not going to like that pen being like that because their OCD is going to be tripping out, and if I put it back there, they'd be fuming.
I think what you said is really important, because there's the differentiation in my mind is that why you are the way you are. You know that you have this ego or this need for attention.
And I do.
And for what reason? And I think the problems arise when you don't. When you don't know. When you don't understand.
Do you think that's an empathy piece then?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, because I know why I am the way I am. I remember when I was like 21 or 22, someone said, Neil, why do you have such a big ego? And I said, well, it's a constant want for love and attention, because my dad never gave me any.
Exactly, that's it, right? And mine is hold on. Mine is that my family. I'm the middle child, closest to my older brother. He always was naughty. And was a little shit, and I was always good, but I never got the attention because the naughty person gets the attention.
Right.
So the reason I want the attention is because of that, right? And the reason I started this business was because of my desire to prove that actually here's my attention.
To try and get that attention.
Try and get the attention
desperately wanted.
But that's fine.
So we know this. Okay.
We know our fucked up shit.
But if my dad watches this, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. But I think that's part of the problem. It's part of the problem is understanding yourself, and it's so difficult to understand yourself.
It really is.
And when people say I went traveling to find myself. I think that there's.
You look like a Gap Yard type of guy.
I totally could have done. I could have done.
Could have done.
I was really hoping you wouldn't pick up on that, the fact that I messed up. But I can't play
By
guitar.
the way, guys, we've had a couple of vodkas now, so if we're slurring, it's fine. But at the end of the day, this is where the truth comes out. Everyone knows when the alcohol gets flowing, the truth comes out, and it's important. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Hold on. Let me just get into it for a second. So what we're saying is understanding ourselves is super important. I'm a firm believer in the scariest place you can be in your life is sitting without any distractions, such as your phone, laptop, iPad. Sitting without any TV.
I can't leave anywhere I am without music.
So exactly, I know, and I've noticed that about you. Sitting by yourself without anything, just listening to yourself. And have you noticed that we all do it? And this is the truth. Like, I've seen it in so many people. Like, you get home, you get on to the text message with someone, you're distracting yourself because you don't want to sit and listen. And I think this is the biggest issue with mental health today, is that the reason we are so scared to sit around is because we're all fucked up. Fundamentally, we are all flawed.
Don't leave me silently in a room. I have to think about my life.
I have to think about exactly
my life.
What I'm doing.
Give me some music.
The point is, I think it's equally a comparison as well. So the reason that's so bad is because we all are comparing ourselves to whatever it is that we're looking and distracting ourselves in these little boxes. There's a different piece there too. I was listening in the car yesterday. Do you know there's the rate of eating disorders has gone up by 75% or something, 70%, 70.1%. I was on the radio yesterday. Forgive the numbers, but it's around there or thereabouts. And do you know the age range? It's mostly in. Mostly within eating disorders. Do you know the age range?
Teenagers.
Yeah, 11 to 16. 11 to 16, bro.
I spent 3 months in Africa. No one had an eating disorder there.
Exactly.
It is an absolutely marketed and conceptualized issue that's brought on by the narrative that you have to be a certain weight or otherwise.
Exactly, and that's because of what we're looking at. Look, actually, I like to think that my Instagram's quite authentic. You watch my Instagram, it's quite authentic, isn't it? Yeah. I'm not showing anything that's like...
I think your Instagram's fine, apart from the fact that you've got this habit of just doing a zoom into my face every time.
Or hitting you
just,
with my phone.
But hitting me. Just like that you flip the phone just
hitting him
straight into my
with
forehead.
my phone. Like literally hitting him.
And I think what you
like
just said, I think what you just said is the most disingenuous thing in the world.
What do you mean?
No one's Instagram is... No one's social media is a reflection of who they are.
Yeah, it totally is. Dude, obviously it's not a total reflection, but let me go and look at... Okay, let's take it back in the 90s when we had those... Do you remember those photo books?
You realize how old Linus is, right?
Yeah, Linus knows. Linus is 28.
I had just enough time without the internet that it thoroughly fucked me up for like 12 years, and I feel like only this.
Why do you not have a microphone right now?
No, but this is we definitely need to order it.
We need to get
we
a
definitely need to
microphone,
order
mate.
it.
Testing, no, that's not working.
No, we definitely need to order it. We'll get a microphone for you. But this is what I'm saying. Linus is 28, so Linus is the same age as you, bro. Like, he's the same age as me, really. You're 30, you're 29. We're
Similar generation practice, quite.
How old are you?
30.
30.
How old are you?
30.
30.
29. 20,
Yeah.
30.
So you're 29.
Are you actually 30
I'm
already?
30.
Oh shit, I thought you were younger.
No, 30. Oh, there you go.
Look, again, without wanting to give you a compliment, you look a little bit younger than 30, that's all.
There you go. So, yeah.
And I really hate doing it because it's going to be a thing now.
So anyway, so where are we at now? Hold on, for fuck's sake. Right, now here we are. Okay, so I think, yeah, there's a big empathy piece missing with the people that are like that, the bigots. They don't have empathy. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are like, I hate that type of person. And actually, I think it's just, like, it's all down to the ego. Like, our generation, if you take the politics level, right? Let's take Brexit and all this sort of stuff.
It's so easy to blame immigrants
It's
and
easy.
disabled
Oh my
people.
God.
In 2008, a load of bankers lost all the money.
No one went and fucking got them with pitchforks.
And then, like,
Should have
in
done.
2009,
Do you know what I mean?
in 2009, everyone was convinced that it was the immigrants and the disabled people that was the problem. And like you were there, right? You were there in 2008. You remember when all the bankers did all these bets and they lost all the money? You were there, right?
And they all got the payouts anyway. So RBS
One
got bought.
person got sent to jail in America.
RBS got purchased, right? It got purchased by the British.
Us? By
Yeah,
us?
by the British government. And all the top geezers or girls, but mostly blokes, and that's another flawed fucking thing as well. But all the top geezers got paid out of that stuff.
They paid themselves bonuses,
but then-
you would
but-
though.
But the point is, I have no problem with capitalism. I'm happy with it. I love capitalism. I'm like a capitalist through and through.
I just love the bravado of how they did it.
No, I don't. It's not. I have no problem with bankers getting bonuses either. I have a problem with people who blame scapegoats,
Immigrants, disabled people, people
there's
on the
no
dole.
difference in that than what happened in Nazi Germany when they're blaming a minority just because it's easy to attack them. There's no difference in that at all. And this is the point. So this is what really pisses me off around, lack of empathy. Empathy is super key. Like, people are people.
So can I talk about Nazi Germany for a bit?
Of course you can.
The reason why Hitler he was voted in. A lot of people don't realise that. He was voted. There was an election, they voted for him. Admittedly, a lot of his...
Yeah, but he wasn't going on what he was going to do.
After World War One...
In hindsight, everyone went, oh, actually, we should have.
Absolutely, but after World War One, there was such strict regulations around, you can't have one person in your army, you can't have a navy, you can't have anything. It basically crippled their economy. And you can absolutely see how one person rocks up and goes, fuck everyone else. Fuck their rules.
Obviously.
Fuck their. Oh, you can't have an economy. You can't have an
Similarly,
army.
actually, yeah, you can see that.
You can see
and
how
the reason, like, and actually, yeah, then again, so here we go. So actually, you just made me realise something. Our lack of empathy for how they're feeling is an interesting thing, because we're going, these guys, they shouldn't be thinking this way because they have a lack of empathy. But what about the reason people are feeling this is because their jobs are gone.
They were completely crippled economically.
If you take, I'm not talking about Nazi Germany. If you take like America, for instance, yeah, the reason that a lot of like the states that were the sort of like, let's say Michigan, for instance,
the cars,
right?
Detroit,
General
Detroit?
Motors, yeah, General Motors, like Michigan used to be like the up.
It was
in the 40s,
it was
50s.
the car center of the world.
Basically,
right?
it was like middle class city.
They were building all the muscle cars. They were doing everything.
Middle class city, yeah, a middle class state. And then after that, obviously they closed down and factories get built elsewhere, which is natural. That's capitalism, right? Because you're like I said to you earlier, and we had this chat offline. The business is all about keeping costs down and making and selling high. That's it. That's what business is.
I feel like there's a level of naivety in most people around, let's say, people who watch the last Star Wars film, they get angry about it because they feel that the person who was directing it for them, not because they wanted to make their company the most money possible.
What do you mean?
Disney wanted to make the most revenue possible on Star Wars, right? And it's the same in the games industry. People think, oh, why did you ruin my game, my game genre or this or Call of Duty? And I always just think, well, because they were trying to make money. No one who was in charge of that, of what you were doing, was trying to make it better for you. They were trying to make more money.
Okay,
That's
so
why
entertainment, yeah, entertainment's interesting as well. I love to be going into capitalism. I love this.
May I? I was going somewhere with this. Do you think because you're not right now? Do you think you'll become that sort of person running a company, where it becomes more about the profit over what you're actually creating for the people?
No, because the point is that used to be a thing back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Like you could pull the wool over people's eyes, right?
Like Enron.
Right, like it doesn't matter what company. There's loads of them. You can fucking pull the wool over people's eyes. You could sell them shit stuff. You could put bad chemicals in their shit. But we're too intelligent now. Like the consumer is they call the shots, and they call the shots with their feet, right?
You think you give people too much credit?
No, not at all, dude. Not God.
I've always thought that this is the thing about the internet, and I feel like this complete informational freedom has changed the fabric of how people deal with feedback. And this is why Star Wars is now. This is why films are getting shit. It's because people have a direct source to people's opinions. Versus first they tried to make stuff that was cool, that they would like. And now it's like they can see all these super vocal aspects. That's why I don't use Twitter, because you can like there's all this shit going on.
Absolutely. So that first Star Wars film, The Last Jedi, is it?
Before Rise of Skywalker.
Whatever the seventh one was, right?
Yeah.
It was the same film.
So let's just go back. Hold on, because the question you asked was that, do you think I'd get like that? No, because I'm not like anyway. So let me just check you for a sec, because the point is that like I said, 60s, 70s, 80s, you can get away with it. You could get away with all this shit. The internet has made it an even playing field. There are so many competitors too, to anyone. So like Diet Coke, fucking Diet Pepsi, fucking Tesco's Diet Cola.
Or New Coke or whatever it is.
No, but I'm talking Coca-Cola as a brand, right? There are competitors. So unless they do stuff that's socially responsible, people aren't going to drink this shit because they know it's shit. Right, we drink.
They're more informed now.
We're drinking it right now because we're like, well, it's Diet Coke because they're branding it. To be fair, but ultimately they know that there is a big PR shit going on. Right, there's a big PR stuff going on. So if you're out to fuck people over for money, then you're going to get fucked as a business. And this is the point. But if you do the best work, if you take what we do as recruiters,
and you just do the best work,
we are we are.
Yeah.
And genuinely, we are the best. Like, so we do three things, but we're the best recruitment agency in the world, 100% in the world. We're the best recruitment technology company in the world. We are the best employer branding agency in the world. But the point is, we're just young. No one knows us. So hold on. No, I'm not finished, right?
I want to say something.
No, let me finish. So the point is that the only way we got there was through doing the right thing.
But this is what I want to say. Let me say it. Let me just say it. Give me 10 seconds. This is the only company I've ever worked for where someone said something negative about a client and you went, we don't speak about our clients like that. We don't speak about our clients negatively. We don't say bad things. And we've all worked, you worked for a recruitment company, so did I, where everyone's like shouting, screaming, swearing, I'll fuck them or whatever it is. The moment someone says something negative, no, we don't speak about our clients like that. That in itself is a massive example of how different we are.
And that's how we smash it. And that's it. Our clients can be, like, frustrated at times, but that frustration is a dictation of us. Like it's us, and it's that we're not fulfilling those needs or we're not understanding them effectively.
Exactly, and it's a great what can we do better?
Exactly, how can we support?
Right.
And this is the empathy piece. Empathy is the key to not only just so even when, like, I don't know if you've ever been out and like, had like almost got into fights and stuff. But I actually just sit there, I'm like, I'd love to understand how, like, even you see me how I am when I diffuse sort of office arguments and stuff like that. I'm like, well, why do you feel like that? How's it going? Like, tell me. What, it's about understanding. And I think, that's a really great place to sort of end this podcast in the fact that we've gone all around the houses, and I do personally believe it's like, understanding is probably the key to getting by in life, no matter if you're in a simulation or not. What do you think, Neil?
I think you're right, and I think a good end to the podcast would be, a client of ours that we went for lunch with the other day said that still they are sending inflated salaries, everything to try and get more money out of their clients, which I thought had been eradicated years ago in that sort of 4-year period where I wasn't doing recruitment. And I just think, why are people not just doing what you just said, where they're being empathetic and they're being a partner with companies? I think that's what needs to be happening right now.
The interesting thing about the recruitment industry, actually, we're not going to end here. We're going to keep going. But the interesting thing about the recruitment industry is that I kind of feel like, because we've always been, as a business, we've not really been in the industry. We've been a recruitment company, but we've not been in the industry.
Skirted around
We've skirted around it, but we don't play those games that recruitment agencies play.
We haven't engaged recently.
And so we just sit back and so then we make our own rules and we say, well, what is right? Instead of going, because otherwise, I haven't been at agency side for like 6 years, right? Agency side, I haven't been agency side, so I can't really remember what the tactics were, or the sort of ways.
I genuinely could not believe it was still the same. I think I changed so much as a person during the time I worked here.
Yeah.
That seeing agencies still making fake email addresses to accept offers so they wouldn't go to another client, that still happens.
Well, not even that.
So shocking to me.
What about remember back? Let's talk about agency stuff. What about when agencies would create like fake job profiles and then you'd call them up as another recruiter? I remember I was in recruitment agency side, I had a recruiter like entertaining me the whole time, and I thought they were a candidate. That made me like fuming. So this is what I'm saying. This is why it's so easy in this world. Guys, I'm just going to put it out there right now. It's so easy to be good. Like, it's so easy to be the best. It's so easy. Because most people are happy just doing mediocre shit. If you just do literally 1% better than everyone else, you do 1% more, you go above and beyond 1%, you're better than everyone.
It comes up all the time with us and our clients. Again, I can't say the name of the person. A so-and-so candidate that we placed said the reason they loved working with you guys to get this position was because of the consistent updates. And I know that sounds like
well, no, we're great. We are great. Everyone, all hail us. We are fantastic. I'm only joking. Let's not big ourselves up.
No, we're the best people. We're the best.
But the point is that we were meant to talk about recruitment. We actually didn't talk about recruitment, which is great.
We went.
But that was even better, wasn't it, Linus?
Simulation theory, everything.
So first podcast back. It's been quite fun, hasn't it? So I'm really interested to see where this. I'm looking forward to actually watching this because.
I'm just concerned that I've offended religious people and physicists at the same time. Like, it's offending atheists and religious people in the same podcast. Is so bad.
Who are you more concerned about offending, physicists or religious people?
Answering that question would be worse than not answering that question.
All right, no, Neil, it's been great to have you on the show. Thanks for being.
Well, I look forward to being on it next week.
Thanks for being the first episode guest. Really appreciate it.
That was a no.
It's been really good. And yeah, so we're doing this every week now. So we're going to be doing a weekly podcast. So subscribe to the YouTube channel because you can watch it there. Because I don't listen to podcasts, but I listen to podcasts on YouTube. So I just have it playing while I'm doing my thing. Otherwise, you can go to podbean.com. There's a link down below. Linus is going to make sure it's there. Or you can go to Spotify, I believe. Linus is going to sort it out. We haven't worked out how we're going to put it on Spotify yet. But we haven't even worked out how we're going to put it on iTunes either. We'll work it out. So links below will tell you, because we haven't known that yet. So you are the future people clicking on those links, which we haven't even worked out how the links are going to get there. But we will work it out because we are problem solvers. Neil, is there any parting word that you want to say? And I won't speak after this. So thanks, guys, for listening to this. Really appreciate it. If you have any comments, comment below. If you've been offended, let us know. We really want to know that sort of stuff. If you agree with us, let us know. If you think we're not a simulation, then let us know. If you're Elon Musk and you're watching this, thanks. Neil.
So as a parting word, I had one note before I came into this podcast, and it was a really sort of important and allegorical story about how you could be a better recruiter in life. But we didn't get to that, so maybe next time. That's the last thing I was saying.